What's going on, Wolves and Warriors? My name's Jase Stewart, and this is the Better Body Academy podcast, the #1 show for those looking to permanently overhaul their mind and body without dumb diets and unsustainable workout programs. We banish the fitness industry BS and replace it with science-backed strategies proven through countless client transformations. In the Better Body Academy, we help busy men and women around the world get unstuck and back into momentum so they start feeling strong and sexy again. Our mission is to transform 1 million lives, and you, my friend, could be next. And on that note, let's get straight into today's show. And we have liftoff. Guys, welcome to the new Better Body Academy podcast. This is your podcast if you want to come in and transform your mind and body permanently without the dumb diets and unsustainable workout programs. Guys, I want to let you know what this first episode is going to be all about. The first episode, guys, what I want to talk about is not majoring in the minors. This is just something that I see so many guys and girls get stuck with when they begin their transformation. They just go too deep into the details and it removes them from focusing on things that are of greater importance in their transformation. So let me ask you a question. What would be the impact of you focusing too much on the stuff that effectively doesn't matter? I like to talk about the micro concepts versus the macro concepts, okay? So we're not talking about macros as in fat and carbs and protein and all that sort of stuff. We're talking about macro ideas, things that are important versus things that are kind of irrelevant and just don't play a part in the everyday lad or lady's transformations. So what could be the potential benefit of focusing on the wrong stuff? The vast majority of clients come into the Better Body Academy and they have one goal. And that one goal is usually to lose a bit of the belly fat or the fat that they've got distributed over their body. It's kind of like this theme of the type of clients that come into the academy is they know what they want. Maybe they used to be a little bit healthier, a little bit fitter, and they've just got to that point in their life where they feel, like maybe my health has dropped down in priority down to number 4, 5, or 6. And maybe it was because I had kids, or maybe it was because my career took over, or maybe there was some financial stuff in there. But whatever the case, they decide to draw a line in the sand and then work out that they want to start their own personal transformation. Now, one of the frustrations that I have as a transformation coach is people that want to focus on things that are really, at the end of the day, irrelevant to their transformation. I'm going to give you some ideas around what I'm actually talking about when I mean you're focusing on the micro, not the macro. Okay, what do I mean by this? Number one, the kind of bane of my existence, artificial sweeteners. So what's the difference between a Coke and a Diet Coke? The difference is that a Coke has a ton of sugar and a ton of calories in it, yet the Diet Coke has no sugar and therefore no calories. So which one do you think is going to impact on your weight more if you're a habitual soda drinker? Of course, it's going to be the Coke. Yet I have these clients and people that make commentary before they've actually started their transformation where they say, oh, but hang on, wait a second, doesn't like artificial sweetener cause cancer? Look, aside from the jury being out whether that is actually the case, using this macro versus micro concept, let me ask you a question. What do you think is at greater risk to your health? Do you think it is the very wee possible chance that one soda a day that contains a micro amount of artificial sweeteners is going to potentially cause cancer? Or do you think it's the thing that you are 130 kilograms and you have 50 extra kilograms of fat squeezing your organs, squeezing your heart and your lungs? Which do you think is more important to you? So that's just one idea. Let me give you another idea. This idea about canola oil. Oh, you shouldn't be eating canola oil. It's going to kill you. It's going to be the worst thing for you. And you look at your life and you're the most stressed person ever. Like, do you think it's the wee chance that a little bit of canola oil is going to be your problem? Or do you think it's this massive, constant, over-the-top stress and cortisol that's being released into your blood, causing you to be constantly in a stress response, like what do you think is the bigger problem for you? Let me explain how the number 1 and 2 killers of middle-aged people, heart attack and diabetes, let me explain how these actually work. I mean, what's actually going on here is, in the case of heart attacks, generally, it is fat squeezing your organs, okay? Squeezing your heart. It causes the blood pressure to go up, and what this ends up meaning is the heart can't cope. It's like having 10 men in a one-man tent. It's very uncomfortable for your heart, and eventually the heart gives way. Or then we have diabetes, where you have sugar-laden blood that is almost thick like honey, trying to squeeze through a tiny little blood vessel in your eye or your kidney, which eventually they just pack up. I mean, what is really more important to you? Is it going to be, getting your artificial sweetener on point? Or is it going to be focusing on the macro topic, which is getting the fat off, starting to build your cardiovascular fitness a little bit, starting to feel better confidence-wise? Start focusing on the macro, not the micro. Now, what are the benefits going to be of adopting a strategy like this? Well, the first one is it's going to simplify your life. If you stop worrying about the tiny little details that keep you stuck and instead start focusing on the big ideas like tracking your nutrition, getting into a gym, being present with your family. These are the ideas that are going to simplify your life. I've got this phrase where I say, actually, when it comes to body transformation, fat loss is actually simple. Losing fat and keeping the fat off, that's the difficult part. And the reason is we're so confused by all these ideas in the fitness industry that just continue to keep us stuck. What is going to be the benefit of you focusing on the macro ideas instead of getting bogged down in the devilish details? It's going to be that you're going to feel more in control. Let me ask you a question. Do you feel most overwhelmed when you are stressing about things that you actually can't control? Is that when you feel most overwhelmed? Is that when you feel like, oh, I need to give up. I can't handle this anymore. I thought I was ready, but I'm not ready. Is it because you are overrun by pressure, trying to be across everything all at once? Guys, simplify it. Focus on the macro instead of the micro and watch what happens. What will happen is when you focus on weight and weight loss in simple terms, calories in, calories out, getting enough protein, making sure your step count gets up, what's actually going to happen is the weight is going to fall off you. As a transformation coach, what I can tell you is the number one thing that is most difficult to deal with is clients that try to do everything else but follow the program. Inside the Better Body Academy, we've got a phrase which we just keep saying over and over again. If you follow the plan, you will get the result. And time again has that proven true. And I want to give you one example of one of my favorite clients, which I talked about in a post on Facebook through the week. His name's Chris Lewis. He used to be by a different name, which we're not going to talk about now. And when Chris first came to me, he came to me because he had basically just had his thyroid removed, and he'd packed on about 30 kilos of fat in a period of 6 months. He was feeling super stuck, and his doctors told him that this is just the way it's going to be. Now, when Chris entered the program, he had kind of, he was treading water for a little bit, and after about a month, we got on the phone to Chris. And what we realized very quickly with Chris is that he's the type of lad that needs to know everything about everything before he actually is ever able to move forward. So what do you think the problem with that would be? Well, yep, you guessed it. Chris struggled to lose fat at all. He just basically procrastinated and stayed in and around the same weight for the first month. Well, then one of my other coaches, Michael, and myself got on the phone. We tag team Chris and said, wake the F up, Chris. Let's simplify the process, mate. Let's stop making so many excuses and let's just make this simple for you. What we want you to do is start tracking your nutrition. Let's start getting your steps up. Let's start making a few more deposits and stop worrying about all these irrelevant details. Well, what do you think happened? Since that point in time, Chris has lost around 30 kilos of fat, pure fat melted off, and basically reversed all of the problems that have been caused to him by losing and having his thyroid removed. Chris has now proven that he's the type of guy that can actually lose fat because he's followed the plan. So my question that I've got to you listening either live or at home is, what details are you getting stuck on that are actually just like irrelevant, and you're using them to procrastinate, to stop you from actually moving forward? There's a concept that I want to talk about here, guys, called the 80-20 rule. The 80-20 rule is a rule that can be applied to many things in life, okay? It's a very, very common rule. It's well known. So I'm going to give you some examples of the 80-20 rule in practice. For those of you that are business owners, okay, could I ask you a question? Is it true that 80% of your problems come from just 20% of your staff or your employees? I mean, the other 80% are fine. They contribute a minute amount of problems to your environment. But it's just these 20% of our employees that give me all of the problems. They cause 80% of the issues. Or what about looking at this from another perspective? Is it true that 80% of the revenue in your business comes from just 20% of your clients? Those clients who are consistent, who are loyal to your brand, who love your service, love your kind of experience, and they continue to pay you. Is it also true that 80% of accidents are caused by just 20% of drivers? Guys, this 80-20 rule is all pervasive. And so what I want you to ask yourself is, in your transformation, are you worrying about the 20% of stuff that doesn't matter, that's just keeping you in distraction, that's taking your focus away from the changes that you actually need to make, and which, if you make, will lead to you actually just releasing the fat? And you know what ends up happening? What ends up happening in the case of our best clients is they get to the 3-month mark, the 4-month mark, the 5-month mark, and they say, when we ask them and interview them, how did you go about achieving this? They said, it's strange. I look back and it wasn't actually that difficult. I mean, I've tried to lose this fat for years. The way I've tried to do it is restrictive diets and going to the gym 17 times a week. I've tried, man shake, and I've tried, running this and that. And it's like so many things going on. And what ended up happening is I was unable to keep it up. Because I wasn't able to keep it up, it caused me feelings of failure and uncertainty. And because I felt those feelings of failure and uncertainty, I just gave up. Until the next time where I was able to jack up a little bit of motivation to restart my next fad diet, my next unsustainable workout program. Guys, I chose to do this as the first podcast episode because it really encompasses what we're all about in the Better Body Academy. We are all about avoiding these kind of really polar black and white ways of living. You have to do this. You have to eat this meal plan. You have to eat this diet plan. You have to train at these times. You have to do this. It's just unsustainable. Maybe for the people that are trying to compete in a bodybuilding or a physique competition, it might be relevant. But for you and I, the average guy and girl that just wants to feel more comfortable in their own skin, it would be advantageous for you to drop all the detail and simplify things for yourself. Just focus on the 2 or 3 concepts which move the needle the most. As an example, there is 0 point wondering what pre-workout powder you should be taking until you're absolutely nailing your nutrition on a daily basis. The supplement will have such a minimal effect, it's not even worth worrying about until you're doing the other part right, which is contributing the majority portion of your transformation. Guys, So I'm going to leave the podcast on that note. Our aim of this podcast is to bring you real world stuff, like not this kind of jibber jabber bro science that's unsupported. Over 500 transformations deep now inside the Academy. We have a proven system, and we want to share some of those tactics and those transformation stories with you on this podcast so you can start to be releasing yourself from the shackles of this kind of old way of thinking. This old idea that I need to do this and I need to do that and I need to be pigeonholed, because the truth is, you do not. Guys, we're going to wrap it on that. Thanks so much for coming in and checking out this first episode of the Better Body Academy podcast. The number one podcast if you want to transform your mind and bodies permanently without the stupid, unsustainable diets and workout programs. We're going to be back shortly with a transformation story from our academy, which we're going to share with you. I think it's going to be awesome, guys. So until then, enjoy your day and we will speak soon. Wolves and Warriors, thank you so much for tuning in. If this podcast is hitting the mark for you and giving you the confidence to start your own personal journey, I want you to hit me up on Facebook or head over to my Instagram at JStewart_Better Body Academy and DM me with the words Better Body Academy. I want to give you the tools to permanently overhaul your mind and body without dumb diets and unsustainable workout programs. Our mission is to achieve 1 million lives transformed, and you, my friend, could be next. So hit me up on Facebook or head over to my Instagram at JStewart_Better Body Academy and DM me with the words Better Body Academy, and we can have a chat about whether we can help you with your transformation goals.